Experts tell us that we're going to see these cases rise in the weeks ahead, a largely preventable tragedy that will get worse before it gets better. What's different about this surge from previous ones is we have the tools to prevent this rise in cases from shutting down our businesses, our schools, our society, as we saw what happened last year. Before it gets better. While cases are on the rise, it's important to note we've not seen a comparable rise in hospitalizations or deaths in most areas of the country. That's because 165 million Americans are fully vaccinated, including 80% of the most vulnerable Americans, our seniors. The best line of defense against the Delta virus is the vaccine. It's as simple as that, period. The vaccine. I want to be crystal clear about what's happening in the country today. We have a pandemic of the unvaccinated. Now, I know there's a lot of misinformation out there, so here are the facts. If you're vaccinated, you are highly unlikely to get COVID-19. And even if you do, the chances are you won't show any symptoms, and if you do, they'll most likely be very mild. Vaccinated people almost never are hospitalized with COVID-19. In fact, according to one recent study, 95% of overall COVID-19 hospitalizations are among those not fully vaccinated. And the data shows that virtually all the cases, hospitalizations and deaths due to COVID-19 are from the unvaccinated population. Last month, a study showed that over 99% of COVID-19 deaths have been among the unvaccinated people. 99%. That means if you're unvaccinated, you are much more likely to, 1, get COVID-19, 2, get hospitalized, and 3, die if you get it. This is a tragedy. People are dying and will die who don't have to die. The data is absolutely clear. As I've said, we have a pandemic of the unvaccinated. Think of it this way. 191 million Americans have gotten at least one shot, including 70% of adults over the age of 18. 165 million Americans are fully vaccinated, but about 90 million Americans are eligible for vaccines and still haven't gotten their first shot. You know, I think there's a clear link between the lowest vaccinated, I don't think actually, the lowest vaccinated states and the states with the highest case rates. This past week, the most vaccinated state in America, Vermont, has seen just 5 new cases, 5 per day of COVID-19 for every 100,000 people who live in that state. That means on any given day, only 30 people in the entire state of Vermont got COVID-19. Nearby Maine, which has vaccinated almost 80% of their adults, has seen just 6 new cases per 100,000. Nearby Maine, with the lowest vaccination rates, are seeing 10 to 20 times as many new cases per 100,000 people. It's moving like wildfire through the unvaccinated community. And it's heartbreaking, particularly because it's preventable. That's why we're doing everything we can to get more people vaccinated. And we're seeing real results. In the past 2 weeks, we've seen a 55% increase in the average number of new people getting vaccinated every day. In the last 7 days alone, nearly 3 million Americans have gotten their first shot. That's the highest 7-day total in a month. Importantly, over the past 2 weeks, the 8 states with the highest current case rates have seen a doubling of the number of people newly vaccinated each day. The message is getting through, apparently. Louisiana has seen a 212% increase in the average number of newly vaccinated people in that state per day, going from 3,600 to over 11,000 people vaccinated per day. Arkansas is up 99%. Mississippi is up 125%. Alabama is up 186%, going from 3,200 to 9,150 people vaccinated per day. This will make a big difference. These are encouraging signs. We have to continue our aggressive efforts to vaccinate the unvaccinated. Last week, I announced additional steps to incentivize Americans to get vaccinated, including calling on states to offer $100 for anyone willing to step up and get a vaccination shot. You know, and already Minnesota and New Mexico have done that. And North Carolina announced its $100 incentive today. Places that have offered the $100, that'd be really good. I'd go back and get vaccinated 3 times. But all kidding aside, offered the $100 to get vaccination have seen an uptick of 25% in daily vaccination rates. We also announced that small and medium-sized businesses will be fully reimbursed for offering paid time off for their employees to get vaccinated, and for them to take a child or a parent to get vaccinated. And I announced some tough, sometimes unpopular steps to keep people safe and our economy strong. All federal workers must report their vaccination status or be subject to strict requirements. Any federal worker who does not attest to their vaccination status or is not vaccinated will be required to mask no matter where they work, test once or twice a week, socially distance, and generally will not be allowed to travel for work. I directed my administration to take steps to apply similar standards to all federal contractors. If you want to do business with the federal government, get your workers vaccinated. And I also directed the Pentagon to look at adding COVID-19 to the list of vaccinations that are required for our troops, because the others are required. I approved the Department of Veterans Affairs to require doctors, nurses, and other healthcare workers who care for our veterans to be vaccinated. And the good news is that now many are following the federal government's lead. In the past several days, states and local officials have come out to impose similar vaccination mandates.
What's up, omnipresent waves?
As well. Even Fox has vaccination requirements. I want to thank Walmart, Google, Netflix, Disney, Tyson Foods for their recent actions requiring vaccination for employees. Look, I know this isn't easy, but I will have their backs and the backs of other private public sector leaders if they take such steps. But others have declined to step up. I find it disappointing. And worst of all, some state officials are passing laws or signing orders that forbid people from doing the right thing. As of now, 7 states not only ban mask mandates, but also ban them in their school districts, even for young children who cannot get vaccinated. Some states have even banned businesses and universities from requiring workers and students to be masked or vaccinated. And the most extreme of those measures is like the one in Texas that says state universities or community colleges could be fined if it allows a teacher to ask her unvaccinated students to wear a mask. What are we doing?
We're not playing communism. That's what's happening. Old man Walter, geez.
All of us together as a country to solve it. Make no mistake, the escalation of cases is particularly concentrated in states with low vaccination rates. Just 2 states, Florida and Texas, account for 1/3 of all new COVID-19 cases in the entire country. Just 2 states. Look, we need leadership from everyone. If some governors aren't willing to do the right thing to beat this pandemic, then they should allow businesses and universities who want to do the right thing to be able to do it. I say to these governors, please help. But if you aren't going to help, at least get out of the way of the people who are trying to do the right thing. Use your power to save lives. I've made it our first and top priority to have a vaccine available for every single American from the day I got elected. That was my priority. Let me be clear. We have a supply for every single American. And that will never change. At the same time, it's also in our national interest to share some of our vaccines with the world, which gets me to the second thing I want to discuss today. From the beginning of my presidency, I've been very clear-eyed that we need to attack this virus globally, not just at home, because it's in America's self-interest to do so. The virus knows no boundaries. You can't build a wall high enough to keep it out. There's no wall high enough or ocean wide enough to keep us safe from the COVID-19 in other countries. In fact, just like the original virus that caused COVID-19, the Delta variant came from abroad. As long as the virus continues to rage outside the United States, potentially more dangerous variants could arrive at our shores again. We know that COVID-19 in other countries stifles economic growth, disrupts supply chains, risks instability and weakness of governments.
Thank you so much, Gigi, for your donation and your support. I appreciate you.
Economies is to vaccinate people. So just as the American economy is recovering, it's in all of our interest to have the global economy begin to recover as well. This is about our values. We value inherent dignity of all people.
Hey, thanks for being here, Slim Shady.
In times of trouble, Americans reach out to offer a helping hand. That's who we are. And I've said before, in the fight against COVID-19, the United States is committed to be the arsenal of vaccines, just as we were the arsenal of democracy during World War II.
What's up, Stevie O?
We've contributed more than any other nation to COVAX, the collective global efforts delivering COVID-19 vaccines across the world. We've supported manufacturing efforts abroad through our partnerships with Japan, India, Australia, known as the Quad. During my trip to Europe in June, I announced that the United States has purchased a groundbreaking 500 million doses of Pfizer and then donate those doses, nearly 100 low and middle income countries who don't have the vaccine. Those doses will start to ship at the end of this month. We also announced that we donate 80 million doses of our own vaccine to supply the world, which has already begun. And today, I have an important update.
What's up, Rodriguez?
Already exceeded 80 million doses.
What's up, Nancy?
As of today, the United States has shipped over 110 million doses of U.S. vaccines to 65 countries that are among the hardest hit in the world. Let me say it again. As of today, we have shipped over
Hey, thanks for being here, Anthony.
doses to 65 nations. According to the United Nations, this is more than the donations of all 24 countries that have donated any vaccine to other countries, including China and Russia, all those nations combined. These vaccine donations from America are free.
Hey, thank you so much, Pickles, for your donation and your support. I really appreciate you.
No
That's tough. I can't believe that places are actually mandating the vaccine. It's
doing this
it's insane.
to end this pandemic. That's it. In fact, we're donating vaccines to countries that have real issues. We have real issues with. And we'll continue to give tens of millions of the doses away across the summer and work to increase U.S. manufacturing of vaccines around the world as well. And it's not just vaccines. We're continuing to provide countries in need with more testing, protective equipment.
What's up, Jesse? Thanks to Real Jeff Mack for your donation and your support. I appreciate you.
Let me close with this. I've said before, in the race for the 21st century between democracy and autocracies, we need to prove that democracies can deliver. And the democracies of the world are looking to America to lead again in two ways. First, to demonstrate we can control this virus at home. And
What's up, Nero?
and help address it around the world. Vaccinate America and help vaccinate the world. That's how we're about to beat this thing. We're always going to have enough doses for every American who wants one. Our work in donating vaccines to the world is about America following through on our promises and delivering what we say we'll deliver. It's showing how American science and technology, American business and academia, and our government can all work together. above all, it's proving democracies can deliver. And yet again, that America is back leading the world, not by the example of our power, but by the power of our example. We still have a lot of work to do. So if you're unvaccinated, please, please, please get the shot. But just don't take it from me. Just read the news. Listen to the voices of the unvaccinated patients in the hospital. They're spending the most powerful message to their families and everyone around the world. A powerful message to everybody. As they're lying in bed, many dying from COVID-19, they're asking, Doc, can I get the vaccine? The doctors have to look in the eye and say, no, sorry, it's too late. Right now, too many people are
Street Fella says to check out the lady dancing to the beats in the background. That's what we're here for.
vaccinated.
I appreciate you, Indigo.
Folks, this isn't about politics. The virus doesn't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. This is about life and death. Life and death. I can't say it any more plainly than this. The vaccine saves lives, and it could save yours or your child's. You know, I know we can do this. We're the United States of America. We're prepared like never before. We have the tools and the resources to save lives at home and around.
What's up, Katie?
This is who we are. This is what we do. This is why there's no nation like us on earth. Well, God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Now I'll take a few questions.
Mr. President, I have a question for you on coronavirus, but first I'd like to start with the news of the day, given back in March you said that if the investigation confirms the
Damn, that volume hit me harder than my coffee.
then he should resign. So will you now call on him to resign, given the investigator said the 11 women were credible?
I stand by that statement.
Are you now calling on him to resign?
Yes.
And if he doesn't resign, do you believe he should be impeached and removed from office?
Let's take one thing at a time here. I think he should resign. I understand that the state legislature made.
What's up, Deputy Dog?
I don't know that for fact. I've not read all that data.
And he's using a photo of you embracing him in his self-defense to say that these are commonplace kind of embraces that he made and the allegations against him. Do you condone that?
Look, I'm not going to fly-spec this. I am sure there are some embraces that were totally innocent, but apparently the Attorney General decided there were things that weren't.
Cyrus, if I could ask you a question about the evictions. No, thank you. On the evictions and the moratorium that lapsed on Saturday night, what is your strategy to prevent potentially millions of people from being evicted from their homes, given what we are told your administration is considering a targeted moratorium is likely to face legal challenges?
Any call for moratorium based on the Supreme Court recent decision is likely to face obstacles. I've indicated to the CDC I'd like them to look at other alternatives than the one that is in power in existence, which the court has declared they're not going to allow to continue. And the CDC will have something to announce to you in the next hour to 2 hours.
On overseas coronavirus vaccines, should other high-income countries follow the lead of the United States and increase donations to low and middle-income countries?
I think those countries that have been able to cover their population and have the ability to provide either dollars and or vaccine for the 100 or so poor nations that need help should do so. We had that discussion at the G7. A number of those countries said they were going to do that. Some have followed through.
Yeah, I appreciate you, JoJo.
So I've kept the commitment, we've kept the commitment that we would do,
What's up, Boston Patriot?
which is more than all the rest of the countries combined thus far.
Mr. President, do you believe that Governor DeSantis and Governor Abbott are personally making decisions that are harming their own citizens?
I believe the results of their decisions are not good for their constituents. And it's clear to me and to most of the medical experts that the decisions being made, like not allowing mask mandates in school and the like, are bad health policy. Bad health policy.
Mr. President, I have a question about something that you just said.
I'm sure you do.
Thank you. You just said there is no wall high enough and no ocean wide enough to protect us from the virus. So what is the thinking behind letting untested and unvaccinated migrants cross the southern border into U.S. cities in record numbers?
There is, what we're doing, we have not withdrawn the order that is sometimes critical or criticized, saying that unvaccinated people should go back across the border. But unaccompanied children is a different story, because that's the most humane thing to do, is to test them and to treat them and not send them back alone.
Mr. President, have you spoken with Governor Cuomo today?
I have not.
And then one other question on the virus. You just said we have to continue our aggressive efforts to get the unvaccinated vaccinated. Other countries have found a lot of success in requiring vaccines in public places. New York City just announced today.
Deflection is a sign of weakness.
And Jim, do you think more cities and states should institute rules like that?
I do.
And are you going to publicly call on them? Should they institute a vaccine passport type system, or it's up to each city and state to figure that out on their own?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Do you think that they should institute a vaccine passport type system or some sort of verification to use public spaces?
I don't think they need to do that. I think they just need to give the authority of those restaurants or businesses to say, in order to come in.
I wish he would mumble into the damn microphone. I can't hear what he's saying.
Take a couple months.
Mr. President, can I ask you about the news of the day? One more on Governor Cuomo. You're calling for him to resign now. My question is, do you think he should be prosecuted? And what is your message to the women who have now accused him of sexually harassing them and abusing them?
Look, what I said.
What's up, Liz?
If the investigation of the Attorney General concluded that the allegations are correct, that back in March, that I would recommend he resign. That's what I'm doing today. I've not read the report. I don't know the detail of it. All I know is the end result.
Mr. President, what is your
Adam, yeah, I've seen lots of videos actually of Hunter in his natural habitat.
moratoriums? Can you explain a little bit more why it took so long to have a possible eviction moratorium be put into place? There were people, this expired on Saturday. I'm wondering, there are folks who are saying it took too long for this to happen.
Well, look, the courts made it clear that the existing moratorium was not constitutional. It wouldn't stand. And they made that clear back in, I guess, July 15th or July 18th. In the meantime, what I've been pushing for and calling for is we have billions of dollars that we've given to states to provide for rent and utilities for those people who can't afford to stay in their homes because they can't, in an apartment, they can't pay their rent. And so we're urging them to distribute those funds to the landlords. I believe that would take care of the vast majority of what needs to be done to keep people in their apartments now. And so that's what we're working on. Some states have done it and some communities have, but they have not. The money is there. It's not, we don't have to send it out. It's been sent out to the states and counties. Billions of dollars for the express purpose of providing for back rent and rent the people who are in the middle of this crisis. And that's there. That's what we're pushing now. And we've been pushing that. That's the immediate thing to do. Take one more question.
Mr. President.
Yes, citizen soldier, I have seen that.
Be announcing again new vaccines to the world today, new other than the ones you promised. Are you ready to send more vaccines to the world? And there is a delegation from the White House going to Brazil tomorrow. Are they bringing more vaccines? Are they announcing more vaccines to Brazil?
Are they announcing more vaccines overall?
Overall, and then to Brazil. If the delegation coming to Brazil tomorrow will be bringing vaccines.
The answer is I don't know whether the delegation going physically has vaccines with them. We have provided vaccines to Brazil.
Bringing the announcement, are they announcing there?
Well, no. There's a need for several billion doses around the world. We have committed to over 500 million doses, and we're trying to provide for more and provide for the capacity of countries like India to be able to produce the vaccine themselves. And we're helping them do that. That's what we're doing now. And we're trying to, and by the way, it's free. We're not charging anybody anything. And we're trying to do as much as we possibly can. Thank you all.
The administration is about to announce a new partial eviction moratorium, COVID-related. Can you tell us any more about that, and are you sure it's going to pass Supreme Court muster?
The answer is twofold. One, I've sought out constitutional scholars to determine what is the best possibility that would come from executive action or the CDC's judgment.
What's up, Gang of Four?
Most likely to pass muster constitutionally. The bulk of the constitutional scholarship says that it's not likely to pass constitutional muster, number one. But there are several key scholars who think that it may, and it's worth the effort. But the present, you could not, the court's already ruled on the present eviction moratorium. So I think what you're going to see, and I want to make it clear. I told you I would not tell the Justice Department or the medical experts, the scientists, what they should say or do. So I don't want to get ahead. The CDC has to make this. I asked the CDC to go back and consider other options that may be available to them. You're going to hear from them what those other options are. I have been informed they're about to make a judgment as to potential other options. Whether that option will pass constitutional measure with this administration, I can't tell you. I don't know. There are a few scholars who say it will, and others who say it's not likely to. But at a minimum, by the time it gets litigated, it will probably give some additional time while we're getting that $45 billion out to people who are, in fact, behind in the rent and don't have the money. That's why it was passed in the act that we passed in the beginning of my administration, and it went to the states. We were under the impression that the states were moving this money out relatively rapidly. So, for example, if I'm in an apartment, if you're in an apartment, and you're behind on 4 or 5 months rent, and let's say your rent is $2,000 a month, I'm just making this up out of the blue, and you're behind, you need $10,000 to catch up. Hardly anybody has that $10,000. But there's money that the states have that can give to the landlord that $10,000 to the back rent. The future rent, it's unlikely, at least the hope is, since they have been made whole to that point, that they'd be inclined, because the economy is growing, inclined not to throw someone out in the street, keep that person, no guarantee, keep that person in the apartment, keep the kids in the same school district, and count on being able to have the opportunity for that person to be able, who may now be employed, to pay their rent. But in the meantime, I've asked that, is there any safety valve we can put in? And it's the one I explained to you. Again, CDC will announce that and the details of exactly how it works. I'm not telling, I told them I want them to take a look. I didn't tell them what they had to do. And my hope is it's going to be a new moratorium that in some way, and I'm not going to announce it now, let them announce it, in some way covers close to 90% of the American people who are renters. And so that's all I can tell you now. Thank you very much.
What's the difference?
Because it's a, let them explain that to you, okay? I don't want to get too far ahead. Thank you.
President, is COVAX doing enough to get shots in arms?
Why not call Governor DeSantis, Mr. President? to deliver the message that you seem to be delivering today about get out of the way.
What did he say to you in that discussion?
Thank you, sir.
All right, just a second. Well, that was nice and creepy as always. I wish he would have mumbled into the microphone. That dynamic between the reporters and old man Walter, that was rough. Those reporters were screaming through my TV. Let's get some shout outs in. Thank you so much, Kimberly, Nancy, T, William, and Jersey Devil for renewing your memberships. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much because you're officially hooligans. All right, I got a couple more shout outs here. Thank you, The Real Jeff Mack's dad, Mark Hill, Tammy, Chris, and Annie. Thank you guys so much for your donations and your support. I really appreciate all of you. So what'd you guys think of old man Walter spreading that nonsense as always? He didn't say lockdowns yet. That's what we were kind of expecting, but there's a lot of speculation about that happening in the next 2 weeks. Yeah, all this White House live stuff, it's all theater, you know. It's like, these are the days of our lives. I think what we're going to do is continue to cover the White House briefing, and anytime old man Walter decides to speak. It's just been really slow lately, and I can't continue to let that keep us down. So I'm always itching to go live. I'm always telling you guys. So I think we're going to continue to cover this stuff. Before he spoke, I think there was some marching going on. I will have to check on that after we wrap this up, but if so, we will probably go live again to cover that. It's a BLM march. There was only a few people when I seen it, but it had just started, so maybe it's still going on. We will try and cover that. If anything else, we will be covering the White House briefing tomorrow, and anything else old man Walter has to say, as well as, you know, civil arrest, riots, chanting, ignorance. You know, we cover all the good stuff as well as the boring stuff. I'm checking out the other chats. I got 3 chats I have to read the whole time. Hey, you have a good day as well, Indigo. I appreciate you. Yeah, Miss Jamie. I'm seeing lots of information suggesting that we're looking at lockdowns in the next 2 weeks. It's all speculation until it happens, but I'm seeing more and more posts of it. Elected officials talking about it, stuff like that. Who knows? All right, well, I think we're going to wrap this up. Let's see. David, if we cover protesting and stuff, it'll be on all platforms. Unless they give me a strike, and I was kind of wondering, because you're not supposed to be talking about the Fauci ouchie, as Salty Cracker puts it. Not supposed to be talking about that stuff, so I don't know if this video is going to get flagged or not, even though old man Walter was saying it. YouTube doesn't care. So we'll see if they get flagged or not, and they give me a strike and won't let me go live for a week. But basically, anything that has to do with the Fauci ouchie, voting, anything with pew-pews in it, I can't show it on YouTube, but I'll show it everywhere else. You guys need to check out and share my link tree I had put together. It's got the Telegram on it. It's got all of my links on it. If we can get used to clicking that and sharing that, it would really help. Instead of sharing links independently, it's very slow and tedious. So I tried to put this together to optimize our connectivity. Thank you so much, Bill. I appreciate you. But yeah, so I will be showing that, or sharing that out. For anyone that hasn't seen the alternative platforms yet, definitely check them out. Those links are on the link tree as well. I said this during the last live. A lot of people are kind of resistant to watching on Twitch, Odyssey, and pretty soon we'll be streaming on Rumble as well. Because they're worried about downloading apps, they're worried about making accounts and stuff like that. First, it's all free. All that stuff is free if you did want to make an account or download the app. And second of all, you don't have to do that. You can just click the link and watch. I don't think you can chat without an account, but you would at least be able to view it, because we are trying to kind of branch out from YouTube, because it's only getting worse. Their community guidelines and restrictions are consistently getting worse. DLive came at us out of nowhere and shut the chat down and flagged my videos and all this stuff after not having any problems for months. All of a sudden they're starting to become another YouTube, and we just walked right off of that platform. I mean, we were getting almost as many viewers on there as we do on YouTube, and I had to just walk away from it because jumping through these hoops is controlling the information and what we're showing, and that's unconstitutional, and we're not going to play by that. The only reason I even deal with YouTube is because most of the hooligans are on YouTube, and we're trying to venture away from YouTube because it's only getting worse. And there's plenty of other platforms out there that are trying to grow, and they're not interested in manipulating what we're allowed and not allowed to say and show. Cuff communism, that's what it is. We're not with that. We're pro-Constitution over here. So definitely follow me on these alternative platforms. Big shout out to everyone that is watching on the alternative platforms right now. Thank you guys so much. Big shout out to everyone that made donations, joined the membership program, or purchased any merch. You guys are awesome. I wouldn't be able to do this without you. So thank you guys so much. If you're new, please subscribe or follow or be connected on the platform you are currently watching right now. We go live as much as I can. I prefer to go live every day. We're going to have to try and figure out how to make that happen since the civil unrest has died down. Of course, usually when I say that, then the riots start. So we'll see. But thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate all of you. I will look into if there's any kind of action going on during the rest of the day. Otherwise, I will see you for tomorrow's press briefing with Raggedy Ann and any kind of speeches we got from Old Man Walter. So thank you guys so much for being here. Until the next live, stand tall, shine bright, and that's a wrap.